A very good day to you, everyone, and this is Halftime NG Podcast. Coming to you live from halftimeng.com. I'm Olawale Adigo, and I've got Larry Gosa right here. Last time out, we had Ivan Dogan, but Larry joins us on today's episode of Halftime Podcast. And Larry, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's nice to be here.
Okay, and let's get into it real quick. Don't forget to just have 15 minutes to play with, and it's the international weekend, and we'll be bringing you up to speed with what the international weekend has to offer this weekend. It must be said. We're going on a quick break. We'll return Halftime NG Podcast. Return. Don't forget to always access our podcast and listen to us. You can always visit halftimeng.com and click on podcast, and you can listen to us crisp and clear. Quick break. We'll be right back with the latest. Coming from the Nigeria Professional Football League, it's match day 36 right there. Before getting to the international football segment, we'll be right back. You're welcome back. It's still Halftime NG Podcast, and I'm Olawale Adigun. I've got Larry Gosa for company right here in the studios of halftimeng.com, and let's quickly run through the NPFL fixtures for this weekend, match day 36. It is, so that leaves us with two more games before the NPFL wraps up. Enugu Rangers will take on Sharks. Atland of Owerri will take on El Kanemi Warriors. Dolphins of Port Harcourt will be up against Lobby Stars. Gombe United will take on Kano Pillars, while Kwara United will be up against Wicked Tourists. Kaduna United take on Bayelsa United. Gwari Wolves up against Aqua United, while Nembesti will take on bereaved Shooting Stars. Eimba at home to ABSFC, while Nasarawa United at the Lafia Township Stadium will take on Sunshine Stars. And Larry, it's all about Kano Pillars right now. They look like the team in the driving seat after that 1-0 win over Eimba midweek. They've got a tough game in Gombe United, and that's away from home. But do you think they can always pull the chestnut out of the fire, get a big result in Gombe, and just have a big hold of the title?
Yeah, you rightly said it is match day 36. Don't forget that the league is just about 2 games away, and finding themselves in situations like this, I don't think they will have home. I don't think going away would be much of a problem. Yeah, you could say yes, it's been very bad for them going away. I think they've picked about 3 points or thereabouts, but playing against their neighbors who are not in any precarious situation at the moment, they are in mid-table. They are not fighting for relegation. Neither are they even look for any continental ticket. So I see them going to get at least a draw, then consolidate in further fixtures.
But Larry, let's also look at the chances of Enyimba, who are some 3-4 points adrift right now. They're even fourth on the log.
Yeah.
But they've got a big advantage this weekend, it must be said, Larry, because look at the title chasing pack. Rangers, talking about Kano Pillars, they are away from home to Gombe United, but also away to Kaduna United. You're looking at El Kanemi Warriors, who will be will be away from home to Atlant, it must be said.
Okay.
But let me take that again. Shit, I don't quickly say that El Kanemi. Okay, let me start from. But Larry, let's also look at the chances of Enyimba in this match day 36 fixture pile-up. You've got the likes of Kano Pillars, like we just talked about, away from home. Bayelsa away from home. El Kanemi in Owerri. But Enyimba, in the comfort of their home, a place they haven't considered all through the season. They take on an ABSFC, and that looks like a sure 3-pointer for them that could bring them back into the title reckoning.
Exactly, especially when you consider the fact that they're about 4th in the log, and they are, they know that they are a couple of points behind, 2 or 3 other clubs, and so they want to take advantage of their home record, which you just said they've never considered a goal. And so playing at home, I think they will have all 3 points and hope that others in front of them stutter.
Okay, and in the battle to avoid the drop, it looks as if Shooting Stars are losing the battle. Don't forget, they also lost Moses Ogaga the past week after a brief illness, or a protracted illness, it must be said. And we're on Halftime NG Podcast, saying that may his soul rest in peace. Shooting Stars are 19 in the 19th position, and they have 43 points. They're away from home. Aqua United look like a team also done and dusted for the drop. They have 41 points. Wicked Tourists also 18th with 45 points, but they are so close to Nembe, who can always steer clear of relegation if they get a result against 3SC. They are 17th on the log. That does it for the MPFL. We'll bring you up to speed with those games next time out on Halftime NG Podcast. But right now, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, it's all about the 22 tickets available for grabs as the road to Brazil 2014 is concerned. The Super Eagles are ready to pick one of those tickets and the journey starts in Ethiopia right there in Addis Ababa. Stick around as we preview the Ethiopia-Nigeria game on Halftime NG Podcast. Stay with us. Okay, you're welcome back. It's still Halftime NG Podcast. Don't forget to access and listen to our podcast. You can always click onto halftimeng.com and click podcast. You can listen to us right there. So crisp and clear. Larry goes still right here in our studios. And Larry, let's quickly talk about the Super Eagles who should be in Ethiopia anytime from now. They take on Ethiopia 2 p.m. Nigerian time. We've been told game will be on TV. Yeah. All 23 players are ready in camp some 4 days before match day or 5 days. And what are your expectations?
Well, statistically, we played 7 times, won 4, drawn 2, and lost 1. But I don't think that will count because, I mean, this is an Ethiopian side who qualified for the African Cup of Nations earlier this year for the first time after 31 years. That shows you that they have hunger in them. Then also, they'll be looking to qualify for their first ever World Cup, and we'll be looking to make it our 5th. But playing against them and when they are playing at home, I think it will be very difficult to be a very, very dicey one for us. But I see us going there trying to grind out a result, even if it's to get a draw and mostly an away goal.
And the Wally Antelopes will have a closed-door training session at the EPCCO grounds today, according to coach Selnet Bishop. But they had a big blow some few days back when one of their top scorers in qualifier, Kebede, got injured. But Larry, let's also focus on the Super Eagles themselves. What areas do you think we need to improve upon? You look at that squad, you might want to say we're African champions, we look indomitable, we look impregnable. But I also think that going forward, we've been a bit suspect. We didn't dominate our opponent in qualifying. We didn't score plenty of goals. And this is 180 minutes, not even 90 minutes. We need to be on point in terms of getting goals.
Well, it's dicey because if you look at the qualifiers, we scored most of our goals late, except in the last game where we beat Malawi 2-0. But going away in the qualifiers like this, I think I want us to watch our defense. In the Nations Cup, we considered 4. And also, after the Nations Cup, we've kept only 2 clean sheets, which is not so good. And so, going away to Ethiopia, I want us to watch the defense. Yeah, we'll score goals when we come to Calabar, but I want them to, try to keep it as tight as possible at the back so that we don't come with too many deficits.
Okay, and later on the show, I'll be putting you on the spot on all the 5 games we've got in the World Cup qualifiers in Africa, Larry. But let's look at Saturday games as far as the road to Brazil 2014 is concerned in Africa. Burkina Faso take on Algeria in Ouagadougou. Ivory Coast up against Senegal in Abidjan. And Larry, the less hyped game out of the 5 games has to be the Burkina Faso Algeria game. And this looks like the 50-50 game. But you have to say that we also had the Nations Cup early this year. Burkina Faso looked like a very, very good side. Yeah. But the Desert Foxes also, we haven't seen plenty of them, but we know what they can do when it comes to stages like this.
Exactly. This is one of those pictures you look and you can hardly tell who is the favorite. But I mean, looking at Burkina Faso, runners up at the last Nations Cup, I remember we beat them in the final. I think their football have been good at the moment. They've been really doing well. Yes, forget the fact that we beat them 4 in the friendly match. They have been really doing well. They have excellent players, the likes of Petropa, the likes of Banse, and a couple of other players like that. But the Algerians, you don't have to know their names, but they play compact football, very disciplined. They play typical European football and they can always come up with surprises. So looking at that game, it's really difficult to stick out my neck, but I'm sure it will be a good game to watch.
Okay, big blow for the Stallions because Alan Traore is out of this one. He's got a long-term injury right from January when he missed out in the Nations Cup. But trust the likes of Aristide Banse, who plays at Bundesliga 2 club, Fortuna Düsseldorf, and also the likes of Jonathan Petropa to really show Burkina Faso the way to Brazil 2014. I'm talking about the high-risk game according to FIFA. Ivory Coast against Senegal in Abidjan. Larry, plenty of security, plenty of controversy ahead of this game, it must be said. Kofi Annan, we had also visited the camp of the Elephant. But this also looks like a 50-50 game, although head-to-head, Ivory Coast have always nicked it. But you look at the forward line, you look at the midfield, Senegal have got to go into this one. They look like a decent side also.
Well, golden generation of the Ivory Coast after 1992, we call it. And so far they've had nothing to show for it. No Nations Cup. Yes, a couple of runners up here and there, but I don't think that will do. And qualifying for going for qualifiers for the World Cup, playing against a Senegal side who have decent players. I seen them come now with results. Yes, the first game was really mad by controversy in Dakar, and so that calls for more concern. That is what it's calling for more concern from FIFA. But I think they will do well to put every security in check and come out with the victory in that game.
And talking about Sunday's games, we're already talking about Ethiopia, Nigeria. Let's talk about the Carthage of the Eagles of Carthage. Tunisia up against the indomitable Lions Cameroon at the Rada Stadium in Tunis. Samuel Eto'o is back for this one. We don't know how much training is that with the Cameroonian players because he joined late on. But Tunisia, their new coach, Rudy Kroll, has a big job, a big task on his hands because you have to say that for what Cameroon can offer in terms of pedigree in recent times, they've just been an ordinary team.
Yeah, the elephants they call them, but in recent times, as you rightly said, the indomitable liars, so to say, they've not been doing well, no doubt about it. But Tunisia, you could say that this qualifier came to their table on a platter of gold. Don't forget that they already lost out to Cape Verde. Then due to one controversy or the other, they were brought in. But I see this game really going very tough. Both legs will be very important. Cameroon will never want to take it lying low. They have their captain and their talisman Samuel Eto'o back. Although he's not been scoring recently for the club, but you know how it happens to him when he dons that jersey. And so it will be a very feisty one to watch. I see Cameroon nicking a result.
Okay, and for the Black Stars of Ghana, will be playing Tuesday up against Egypt in Kumasi. We hear that Kevin Prince Boateng has been confirmed that he won't be playing that game on Tuesday, and the Schalke man has apologized for his inability to join the Black Stars for the game next week Tuesday. But Larry, this is another game you can't stick out your neck. This game will go over to Egypt before we know who takes it to Brazil 2014.
Exactly. I don't know. Boateng has a way of sticking out when it's very important. After the World Cup in 2011, he retired. Then even when he's back now, he's not going to play the qualifiers. Having said that, I think they'll be missing the former AC Milan man who is really fine on all cylinders for Shaq Ofo. But having said that, I think they have to move on. They still have the likes of Montari. They have the likes of Asamoah Gyan to keep the ball rolling. Then playing against the Egyptian side, who you could also say have had good spells. Don't forget they won the African Cup of Nations 3 times back to back, but they've never made it to the World Cup, and it will be a very, very tough one. It's really difficult to stick out my neck, but I'll just wait for the second leg.
Okay, that's it for the Africans. Don't forget the 5 the 5 crunch ties coming up Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. Burkina Faso, Algeria in Ouagadougou, Ivory Coast against Senegal in Abidjan, Ethiopia take on the Super Eagles of Nigeria at Addis Ababa 2 p.m. Nigerian time. Tunisia up against Cameroon in Tunis, and on Tuesday at the Babayara Stadium in Kumasi, Ghana will take on Egypt. A quick time out when we return with plenty coming from Europe, plenty from South America, and also from the CONCACAF region. And still about the race to Brazil 2014. Don't go nowhere. We'll look at the big games coming up this weekend. You're welcome back from that break. It's still Halftime NG podcast coming to you courtesy halftimeng.com, your number one sports site for the very best of. Okay, it's football. You're welcome back. It's still Halftime NG podcast coming to you right there on halftimeng.com, your number one football website in Nigeria. Don't forget to always listen to our podcast. Log on to halftimeng.com and click on podcast. You can be able to listen to our podcast wherever and whenever you just want to listen. Okay, let's quickly talk about the European World Cup qualifiers, UEFA South America. We will be looking at, and Larry, let's just look at the 5 important games that we should be looking forward to. Talking about the road to Brazil 2014, and number 1 has to be the winner takes all tie at the Friends Arena in Stockholm, Sweden, up against Austria.
Exactly, and it will be a very, very difficult one because this is, you could say, second playing against third. Don't forget, Sweden have 17 points and the opponent have 14 points. And you might think that Sweden might need a point from this, but I don't think Austria will want to take that line. Sorry, I want to take this again. All right, you rightly said the winner takes it all. Sweden are currently second on the table with 17 points. They also Austria have they are third on the table with 14 points. It would be a very difficult one because Germany already qualified. They are runaway leaders. They have 22 points. And considering the fact that Sweden are at home, I think they want to take full advantage of this. They have key players like Ibrahimovic firing from all cylinders in their club. But Austria might not have big players. Maybe only Alaba you could say, but they have a way of playing together. And these World Cup qualifiers we're talking about, I think they will try to get a draw from this. But I think Sweden will be too much for them.
Okay, another game to watch out for in Europe. Talking about qualifiers for Brazil 2014 has to be that Group H where it involves the tightest situation and also the most permutations. It's England against Montenegro, but Larry, you just also can't rule out the outside chances, the likes of Ukraine and Poland also having this.
This is one very interesting group because England are currently first, Ukraine second, Montenegro third, and Poland fourth. But one good thing is mathematically, four of them still have a good chance of qualifying. But we have to, we have sentiment for England, and so let me talk about England. Now they are hosting Montenegro. Afterwards, they'll play Poland. They know that Ukraine will be playing the whooping boys in the table San Marino, and so they must do everything, to get all 3 points from this, knowing fully well that they are leading Ukraine by only 1 point. So should they beat Montenegro, then beat Poland, they'll be home and dry. But should they draw today or even draw the next game, they know it will be bad for them. But playing at Wembley, I see them coming out. They've been in situations like this. They have a way of grinding results. So I see them coming out and nicking out the result.
Okay, let's talk about the group that has Russia, Portugal, and Israel with a minute chance of also making it at least to the playoffs. Russia look like a team guaranteed, Larry, because their two next games away to Luxembourg and the one in Baku to Azerbaijan. But Portugal have a bit of their work cut out. They're in Portugal. They take on Israel, a very, very plucky and tricky side, it must be said. But you get a feeling that when they've got Cristiano Ronaldo in good form, 3 points for them assures them a place at least in the playoffs.
Ordinarily, looking at this table, you never would have thought that Russia will be leading the table, but they are 18 points at the moment. Portugal have 17, and they are playing against an Israel side who have 15 points, who have mathematically a chance, of still nipping into that playoff spot, which is second. But even though they win, you will have that feeling that Russia will go ahead to win at Rosenborg. But I see them getting a victory from this, then consolidate in their last game.
Okay, let's head over to the CONCACAF region where only one spot is available. Even that one spot has to go through the playoff stage before booking a place in Brazil 2014. It must be said that likes of United States have already gotten qualification, but one team that can also take the last available slot, that will be the fourth place nation to enter a playoff in New Zealand, has to be Honduras. But special focus is on Mexico, a team that has in the last 16 years made it to the FIFA World Cup. They take on Panama, a game even if they take all 3 points, they are still on a short qualification.
Yeah, but one good thing is they have their destiny in their hands. They are playing against a Panama side who are currently sitting on fourth position, and as rightly said, the last position for playoff. I see them coming out or find out from us, and don't forget that they have a new coach. But interestingly, Jamaica still have a chance of qualifiers, but they are really not on the driving seat. I see Mexico, trying to get a result from this year. 2013 has not really been good for them. They've hardly scored, considering goal left, right, and center, and even drawing most of their matches. But this quickie bomb time, there's no more. They don't have much time to toy with. So playing against the Panama side and hosting them, I see them coming out with a victory.
Okay, to the CONMEBOL region where you have Colombia and Chile. Argentina already done and dusted and primed up to make that short trip to Brazil next year. But Colombia, Chile, they look like teams in commanding positions. But a blip could just make sure that it turns sorry for them.
Exactly, as rightly said, Argentina are runaway leaders. And so second, Colombia will be taking on third, which is Chile. Very, very typical South American side. Knock you off. As rightly say, Argentina are runaway leaders. They've gone with about 20-something points. And, we have third, which is Colombia, taking on Chile, which is third. It will be a very difficult one because, both sides want to qualify. Yes, they know that they are qualified already as it were, but they have likes of Ecuador and Uruguay trying to, take advantage of every slip-up. And so you might say that a draw will be good for them, but I think Colombia trying to get a victory from this, knowing full well that there's still one more game to go, which they can toy with.
With both Ecuador and Uruguay 2 points behind Chile on 22 points and facing off against each other, adding a further attention to the fixtures that Colombia have already let one opportunity to qualify slip, and that was by losing 2-0 to Uruguay themselves the last time out. So interesting weekend it will be as Brazil 2014 gets closer and closer. So interesting football action we will see this weekend. I get a feeling that you won't even miss plenty of league football this weekend. We need to go on a quick break right now, and when we do return, I'll be putting Larry Agosa on the spot, especially on the Africa Zone, as we wrap up Halftime NG Podcast.
For the leg or for the thigh?
Not true, sir. I'm not going to take him again, though. Now, two legs, waiting on the picking.
So she's for the
Just go
leg
to
still.
30, we go to 30.
Okay.
Um,
Roman legend.
we go on a quick break right now, and when Halftime NG podcast returns, done with international footballing weekend, it's time to profile one legend. It's time to profile one man that when he leaves profile a legend.
One of the few loyalists. One man club. Who edited? You?
Oh, I'll send it to him now. It's time to go on a quick break, and when Halftime NG podcast returns, we're done with the international football. I hate all
We're
this
done with the
thing.
international football.
Okay. We're done with international football. Okay. We're done with the Brazil 2014 qualifiers in Africa, Europe, South America, CONCACAF, and also in Asia. It's time to turn our attention to one man that has made football prouder, especially Italian football. We're talking about the man who they call No Totti, No Party. We'll be right back. I didn't check that very well.
What did you not include? Or your
That No Totti, No Party. It didn't go in the right context. Take two. We're done with the international footballing segment, and we're open to see the very best of football and make the best teams wins. Okay, we're done going through the Brazil 2014 qualifiers in Africa, South America, Europe, and also in Asia. It's time to go on a quick break. And when we return, we're profiling one man Italian football can always be proud of. Stick around, we'll be right back. Okay, it's time to wrap things up on Halftime NG podcast. Larry Agosa still in our studios right here. And don't forget that I'm still on Lawale Adigo. And Larry, let's just quickly, delve away from international football, but you get a feeling that this man we're talking about also has also impacted on international football. We're talking about Francesco Totti, 36, still showing no signs of stopping after reaching another milestone in his remarkable career.
I mean, what more can we say? They call him No Totti, No Party. Made his debut in 1993. Where about two of their shit. Yeah, what more can we say? You hear No Totti, No Party. We're talking about a legend here, one man club, loyalist to the core, who made his debut in 1993 when only two of his current teammates were not even born. And so I mean, shit. When you hear the word No Totti, No Party, we can only be talking about Francesco Totti, the Roman legend, who made his debut in 1993, and so far he scored about 225 goals, 37 years of age. Just scored.
Just say take two, so the editor will know.
Take two. When you hear the word No Totti, No Party, we can only be talking about one man, the Roman legend Francesco Totti, who made his debut in 1993, and so far he scored about 225 goals. Excellent player. You could call him a track twister, and you could also call him a second striker. He's been very good for Roma. I mean, he's really done a lot. He's been with the club through thick and thins. As a matter of fact, when he made his debut, only two of his current teammates were not even born, but he stuck with Roma. He's been their captain for years. Yes, he's not really won so much with them, but when we talk about loyalists, we talk about the likes of Gerald Maldini. This is one of the very few that come up with them, and so Totti has been very impressive so far this season. He's had about 3 goals and about 6 assists for his club, trying to rally them around, trying to pull strings together from the midfield. I know we can only hope for the best for Totti.
Okay, Larry, let's also quickly link this to international football like we hinted earlier on. The last time he turned out for the Italian squad, the Azzurri, was in 2006 when they won the World Cup. Yeah. Right now, there are plenty of calls for him to return out of Brazil 2014 based on what he's done. Like you just said, 3 goals, 6 assists, no small fry in football right now, coming from someone who is, on the other side of 30. But if you are Cesare Prandelli, will you be pondering bringing back Totti into the fray?
Well, it's not abnormal for you to see, good players like this, and you want to call them out of retirement. If you remember, England had the same, issue with Paul Scholes in 2010. But I think he should just, play Paul Scholes show, where he said no, he should give the younger players a chance. Yes, in 2006 it was very, very mercurial for them, very, very key, bringing that work up. But he's 37 by next year, will be 38. I think he should just, leave when the ovation is lauded, which he has done. I don't think that is enough to really bring back, because if you look at the international national team now, they have players in numbers. They have excellent players, and so Cesar Prandelli should just make do with what he has.
Okay, just recently, Francesco Totti notched his 300th goal in Italian football, both for Roma and also for the Italian Serie A. But you also have to look back and remember back then at the World Cup. Yes, that was Euros. That was at the Euro 20. Okay, no.
World Cup.
Euro 2014. It's not possible. When did he split at Christian Poulsen?
Euro 2014. It can't be 2014. He didn't even play 2008.
Okay. What was my last? How did I come in when you
said scored 300 goals?
Take two. And just recently, Francesco Totti also notched up his 300th career goal for both Roma and also for the Azzurri. So that speaks volumes of the quality this 36-year-old Italian has got in his.
37-year-old.
He's 36, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's 36. Take two. Editor no vex. And just recently, Francesco Totti just notched up his 300th career goal for Roma and Italy. So this speaks volumes of what Francesco Totti can always do at the biggest stage. But Totti also will go without plenty of controversy. Don't forget, he didn't have it well. Coaches like Claudio Ranieri, coaches like Luis Enrique, but it looks like a reborn player under Rudy Garcia, who came all the way from Lille and has put them on top of the table in the Italia Serie A right now. So talk about Francesco Totti. We still know that there's no party without the Totti, and when there's the Totti, there is the party. On this note, we wrap things up on Halftime NG podcast. QuartyHalftimeNG.com. Don't forget to always check out the latest football news on HalftimeNG.com anytime, any day, and also you can always click on podcasts on that website to listen to us wherever you are in the world. I'm Olari Adegun. Big thank you to Larry Agosa for joining us. We're out of here. We'll join you again next week, Friday, right here from the studios of Halftime NG Podcast. Till then, be safe and God bless.
So you didn't remind the editor again that we are no more calling it.
Calling what?
I mean, prediction for the weekend.
No. You need to figure out. I'm obliged now you help me prepare for sure.